Hello, my name's Fred McNeil, and thank you for watching QAC TV 7. We've started a program called Thank You for Serving. There are 3,500 veterans in Queen Anne's County. Every other week we bring on a different veteran. We talk about their experience in the military, things they'd like to share with you, and other concerns. I'm delighted to have with me this week Robert Sims. Robert, thank you for joining us. Okay,
Yes.
good time. Now, Robert, how about tell everybody, when did you go in the service? How old were you?
Well, I was 20 years old. I went to the service. I was drafted.
Okay.
I didn't volunteer.
Now, what year was this?
1965.
Oh, 65. Year I graduated from high school. Okay.
Yeah. And they sent me to Fort Knox.
Okay, Kentucky.
Yeah. And from there, they transferred me to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, where I did my basic training.
Okay, so, you had mass. What time of the year? I hope it wasn't in winter time.
Well, we were there in the summer, but then
okay.
we spent time up in upstate New York during the winter time.
Oh, Lord, that's not bad.
Oh, it was freezing.
Now, Robert, let me go back to basic. Any good memories of drill sergeants or anything that drove you crazy, or you've forgotten that whole area?
Well, one of my favorite persons in the service was a captain.
Okay.
His name was Captain Jackson. I looked up to him. He was tall. He was athletic.
He looked military.
Yes, he looked the part.
Yes.
And he really, really struck my attention. So I did everything to please him.
Please him, okay.
So I was number one in all the PT exercises.
And this is basic training.
In basic training, I was number one throughout our whole brigade. And I did it to please him.
Okay.
But because he always came to me.
He was your role model.
Oh, yeah. He always told me, give me 10 push-ups and I'd give him 20.
You pump them out. You pump them out.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, where were you born and raised? Let me go back a little bit. I goofed.
I was born in a small city in West Virginia, a place called Elkins.
Oh, well, sure.
Population back then was about 10,000.
Okay, nice small town.
It was a very small town. Everybody knew everybody.
Okay, now were you an athlete, or what was the claim to fame in Elkins?
I
or a
played,
troublemaker like me?
Well, I was not a troublemaker because my father would not allow us to be troublemakers.
Good for your dad.
I played basketball.
Okay.
I played baseball, and I wrestled in high school.
You were busy in sports?
Yes.
Okay. And now what was the you graduated from high school.
Yeah.
You just said you didn't go to the military, you were 20.
Yeah.
What was there a family tradition, or you just wanted to beat the draft, or you wanted to beat or joining, or what?
Well, no, what I wanted to do is I came up to Washington, D.C., and I wanted to go to the University of Howard University.
Oh, sure, D.C.
And I said, well, I want to take a year off. So I took that year off, and during that year, it was a mistake.
They got you, 1A.
That's exactly what happened. My mother called me from Elkins and said, you have a letter here from the government. I said, open it up. She said, well, you need to come back home.
You're in the Army, Mr. Oh, so you were drafted like you told me.
Yeah.
Okay, and basic, you got through. The captain turns you on to, you're winning everything, doing super. Where'd you go for AIT?
Well, we did everything there.
Oh, at Devens.
At Devens, everything. We were called a special unit, and the sergeants weren't allowed to curse at us. Really? They weren't allowed to yell at us.
United States Army? What army? What army are we talking about here, man?
They weren't supposed to do any of those things, but because we all went in together and we all stayed together.
Oh, great.
We were a trial unit, so they had to treat us like human beings.
Good, unlike guys like me.
Right.
Okay. But what did they train you? Were you infantry, 11 Bravo, or what did they train you at?
Well, I was trained I wanted to be a cook.
Okay.
Because prior to going to the service, I worked and trained as a chef.
Oh, all right.
So
that made sense.
I wanted to be a cook, so they told me, no we don't want you to cook.
Well, the Army, you know that. You know they weren't going to let you out.
We want you to be in a utility service business. Okay. So I said, what's that? So he said, well, you're going to be assigned to artillery.
Oh, Lord. You thought you'd be cooking eggs and you're cooking artillery shells.
So they put me in artillery. So that's where I wound up.
Okay, and that basic training, Devens, artillery advanced training, also Devens.
Yes.
Now, where'd you go after you were trained and out of Devens?
From there, we were supposed to go to a place called Santo Domingo for riots. At the time, they were having riots in Santo Domingo. Okay. So we trained with our bayonets and how to
control,
how to control
crowd
riots.
Control, yeah.
But then we get this memo saying that we're not going to San Domingo. We're going to Vietnam,
Oh, no. Thanks
which
a lot.
which I knew was going to happen.
Yes, yes.
So we took a 32-day trip on a ship from Boston
To Vietnam?
all the way to Vietnam
Through the Panama Canal that way?
to the Panama
Oh,
Canal.
Lord, that would have been an adventure.
So when we got there, well, it was a hard thing because I had never been on a ship.
Oh, you were seasick after
Yeah, and we did PT on the ship. We did rifle
all
training on the
types of
ship.
training right on the ship.
All kind of training on the ship.
Now, were you what, E1, E2? What were you at that point?
I was a corporal when I
E-
went over.
okay,
Yeah,
E4, yes.
yeah. I made rank really fast.
Yes, you did.
Because I was gung ho, and my
Well,
father.
you, obviously, winning all, I mean, PT tests and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the attitude they saw.
My father always taught me, no matter what you do, try to be the best at it.
Good for him.
Even if you're a ditch digger, be the best
Be the
ditch
best
digger
you certainly.
you can be. So I carried that with me all the way through the service. So we got to Vietnam and we landed, and we were told about all the enemy. They're everywhere. You can't trust anybody. And we were all in shock and awe. Because the first thing we heard was the jets flying over, dropping bombs and all
Welcome to Vietnam.
that. Welcome to Vietnam.
This is not Fort Devens anymore.
No, this
Where,
is
where in
real.
Vietnam were you?
A place called Tay Ninh.
Now, where's Tay Ninh?
It's
North, south,
it's
east?
south. It's right near Saigon. It's not
Okay.
too far from Saigon.
Okay.
We built a place up. It was nothing but a field when we got there, and we got hit the first night we were there.
First night in country.
The first night in country, we got mortars, and we lost our first sergeant.
You got hit.
He got hit. He got wounded. He was trying to get this other soldier to go undercover, and he was running around. He was scared, and the sergeant went out to get him.
And he got incoming.
And the sergeant got hit with shrapnel. And it was a sad day because he was a good sergeant. He was very strict.
That was the first night.
That was the first night.
Lord. Now, was it a difficult year? Would you say, looking back on it?
It was a very difficult year. We had a lot of fire missions. Wherever the infantry went, we went.
So you followed them for support with artillery.
From one place to another. I was a gunnery maintenance guy over there. I did the scope and I did the coordinates and all that kind of stuff. And I made rank. I was a sergeant when I was over there.
Oh, you made 5. Oh, good for you.
I made E5 in 9 months.
Oh, that was super fast.
In the service, I was E5 in 9 months. And they wanted me to re-enlist, but
They give you E6, $10,000 and take your life. No way.
I said I'd rather take my chances back in the States.
Good for you.
So it was a hard time in Nam. Lost some friends. It was very, very nerve-wracking. And I tell everybody, I brought Vietnam back home with me.
Okay. Now, I know one of the topics you want to talk about, and we'll open the door to that right now. 17 veterans every day kill themselves. There's statistics, and we can argue that 10 to 20% of GIs, Navy, whatever they were, have PTSD.
Yes.
They've carried it with them. Now, if you want to share your experience, or how do you want to explore this topic? This is your topic.
I'll be happy to share it.
Sure.
Once I got back to the stateside, we were told not to wear anything that resembled military.
Because people were yelling, throwing, doing weird things.
So when we got to the airport, there were like 20 people out there throwing slurs at us and called us baby killers. And I'm saying to myself, what is this all about? Yeah. We went over there to fight for our country.
Serving your country.
We weren't volunteers. We were told
You're
to go
US.
do what
You're
we're doing.
US,
right?
Yeah.
So we did what we were told. But I came back not knowing what was going on. And here I am with all these images in my head and wondering what's going on. And I'm riding a bus and somebody...
Where did you come back in the country? Oakland or Lewis?
In Oakland.
Oakland, okay.
And then I called my mother and said, I'm back in the country. So I came back and I moved back to Washington, D.C.
Now, you were discharged at that point?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a civilian again.
I didn't have to do any
duty in the country whatsoever?
None at all.
Okay.
They said, since you served in Nam, you're free.
You're out.
No more extra duties do you have to do. A lot of people joined the National Guard, but I didn't. So one thing led to another. And I started having these weird feelings about myself. My first wife, I used to curse at her. I used to scream.
You had
I used
anger.
to
You were just
yell.
angry.
I was extremely angry. And I smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day, just one after the other.
Just nervousness.
Yeah. Oh, I was nervous. I was angry. And I finally decided to go to the VA just to see what's wrong with me. And I got down there and I met with a counselor. And she said, "You are suffering from PTSD." I didn't know what PTSD was.
Nobody after Vietnam.
Nobody knew what it was. So she explained to me what was wrong, and she said, "You need to seek some counseling." So they put me into all these different groups down there, and over a span of maybe two and a half years, I was taking different classes. I finally get to the upper echelon of the PTSD. There was a final class there called PTSD Resocialization Group, trying to get us back
Reintroduced into society, yes.
So that group started about 30 years ago. I was in it for 10 or 15 years, and it's unfortunate. And it was mostly Vietnam veterans.
Fellow Vietnam veterans
Right.
that had experiences probably a lot like you had.
90% of us were black. So it was a group where we could go and meet other people who knew what was wrong with each
And
other.
you felt comfortable talking
We talked
to
to each other. We shared our pains. We cried together. We hugged each other. This went on up until this past February.
So we're talking, what, 30 years? What are we talking here? More than that.
Some guys were in this for 30 years.
30 years.
And this past January, we were told that our group was going to be terminated.
Just like that.
Just like that. And we're saying, what? Why? And they told us that we've reached our plateau. And I said, what
does that
plateau?
mean?
What does reaching our plateau
Let me
mean?
interrupt you just a second. At this point in your life, you've been a successful businessman. I think you're probably a father at that point.
Yeah.
Did you still have anger? What would this, in other words, people watching this, what symptoms did you have?
Well, the symptoms that I had was if I rode public transportation and somebody hit the side of a bus with a brick, I jumped on the floor.
The noise, just the noise.
I would yell, "Get down, get down." Everything that can trigger your symptoms,
Memories
it
of
happens.
Vietnam. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one. It can be so many different things. Now I still get triggers because I live in a place where helicopters fly over.
You hear the helicopter.
I hear the helicopter, and I sit up straight in the bed, and I say, it bothers me a lot. My wife tells me they're going to help somebody. They're going to help. It's okay. They're going to help somebody. But that's one of the triggers, and there's so many different triggers that people don't understand.
Now, again, I mean, sweats, chills, or just anger, or just awareness of this?
Well, I get nightmares.
Oh, you do get recurring nightmares? Same thing? Or?
Yes.
Can I ask, what are your nightmares? Only if you're comfortable talking about it.
Well, I had a friend that got shot right through the head. And I have another friend who went AWOL, and we found him in a tree, stretched out, arms, and his private part was stuck in his mouth. And that's an image that
It'll never go away.
it never goes away. So there's a lot of different triggers, but the VA was helping us a lot.
They were helping you get through this.
They were helping us get through. But as of January, when they said, you all don't need any more help, you've gone as far as you can go in this program, I said to myself, what do you mean, as far as we can go?
I still see the helicopters.
We can never be over this.
No.
So they told us February the 21st, you can no longer
There's
come.
no help for you.
Come here.
There's no help.
We have no help for you. So they gave us 3 options. One, you can go to a local center, which is up in Northwest DC, up by the Soldiers' Home, where there's no parking, where parking on the street, you have to have a permit
And they tow you away in DC.
or else they'll tow you away.
Sure.
If you find a parking space and you walk to that location, it's a crime area. You might not make
They
it
made
there.
it inconvenient.
Right.
They made it inconvenient.
So they offered us another location, which is in Southwest DC at a center, but they can only house half of our group.
And the group has been cohesive as working
Right.
as a unit for 30 years.
We need a place where we can go and be there together.
Yes.
And the third option they gave us was meeting there once a month where we meet, but that could be terminated at any time. I've written letters. I've called.
Nothing.
Got
So
no
you're now
response.
getting no therapy or support whatsoever.
Nobody's getting therapy. And I have a couple friends
They need it.
who have called me that are in bad shape.
What can I, if I can, without using names, so what are other people's symptoms? So, I mean, out in the audience, we probably have veterans watching this show. You talk about helicopters, you talk about loud noises. From this group, can you share anything? In other words, are they violent? Are they scared? Are they a combination of everything?
Well, most of them aren't violent.
Okay.
They've calmed down, but there are things that will make them violent.
Something that will trigger.
It's called a trigger.
Right.
And we have some guys in the group that cry a lot. There's some guys in the group that just sit in a corner
Quiet as they can be.
because they're afraid to come out of that corner. There are some guys that talk. They want to get everything out. They want to tell everybody their story. They want everybody to know what they're going through. And that's what we want people
That's
to do.
what yes, of course.
That's what helped me. I talked to several different people. That helped me out tremendously. But a lot of people, especially now, they've gone back into their shell. This is hurting a lot of.
There's no group support. There's
No group support.
whatsoever.
I've written letters to several people.
Well, I mean, now you tell me. I find it unbelievable that a person who fights for their country, whether you agree or disagree with the combat, the point is you served your country, you came back wounded either psychologically or physically, and we're not giving them all the support they need.
Right.
I mean, don't you feel as a country we've fumbled that one? I mean,
We did fumble it, and we continue to fumble it. And what bothers me is that we are now in our late 70s and 80s.
yes.
We are from the Vietnam era, which a lot of people didn't agree with, but we did what we were supposed to do.
We were kids, basically all kids. Weren't
We were
Yeah,
kids.
Yeah.
We had kids there 16 years old, was the youngest one.
Yes.
I happened to be 20. But we did what we were supposed to do, and then we come back to a country that hates us.
Yeah.
How does that make me as a black individual feel? I went there.
You didn't need that. Did you?
I went there to serve my country, and then to be thrown out of the VA right now when we need it the most, we're just being thrown out with the bathwater.
Oh, no.
They don't need us anymore. We are now.
You're expendable, right? It's ridiculous. It's
We
ridiculous.
are a dying element.
I know.
We are a dying breed.
Robert, we know we're a group. We're part of a group that meets every Monday, and we do different activities. But the guys and women there, they just need to speak about this. It's hard for you and I to talk to our wives about basic training, advanced infantry training, or Vietnam. There's nothing against our wives, but they have no way they can relate to it. It was basically a nut house that we survived and we did well. But now that we've come back, I have had this reoccurring dream since 1969 that I'm on a Jeep. You get a kick out of this. I'm on a Jeep riding with a sergeant, and my ETS has come. Time to separate. I keep saying to the sergeant, "Sarge, I want to get off the Jeep. I'm a civilian now." But the point is, how many tens of thousands of GIs are having the level of your group's problems? Something as silly as me. We just needed someone. I'll listen to you, right? Talk
Right.
about it. Yeah. Well, if I made you president for a day, what would you do to help the thousands of kids that have PTSD?
If I were president of the day, I would first reinstate our group.
Okay, get the VA helping veterans.
Get the VA to do more for veterans. Also, I would establish more locations where people can go.
Conveniently go for help.
Right, in different areas. So many people need help. I am one of 3 who was nominated to be a point person for our group to try to get this thing back together.
Right.
But we're having so many difficulties. We have one roadblock after another. They don't want us to have this group down there anymore. They don't want us to talk about it. But somebody's got to do something to help us out.
Well, we know in just our Monday group, you've asked people every Monday, hey, how would you like to start a PTSD support group? And you've only had one person report.
I've had one person.
And you and I both know if there's 30 or 50 of them there, 10 or 20% of them are having recurring nightmares because we've put the lid on this, don't you think?
Yes. Well, most people are ashamed to admit that they have an issue.
It's a male weakness or something.
But it's not a weakness. It's not a weakness to explain what's wrong with you and have somebody there to listen to you and kind of guide you along.
Someone who's trained as a clinical psychologist or whatever.
Yes, that's what I want to get started here in this area. And there's other people that are willing to help me get it started, but we just got to have the people.
Sure. And we know if there's 3,500 veterans out there, I mean, there's anywhere from 350 to 700 of these men and women.
Yes.
Who probably having, you to one level and me another level that need to talk. We found that in our book club. Our book club, we don't talk about the book. These guys, and mostly guys, just want to get out what happened to them, just like you do. I mean, you want to talk about the poor kid you found or the helicopters going over. And you need trained people to walk you through this. How do we deny this to veterans? I don't understand.
Well, it's been denied. And I don't know if it's ever going to get started back up again, but I'm going to do everything in my power.
Good.
I'm not letting this issue go. Me and my other two partners are not letting this issue go.
Good.
I would probably contact the Washington Post, see if they can help me out.
Good. Well, Americans, and I live in America because we think when the president tells us or the Congress tells us the war is over, it ends. It doesn't end, as you know. We're talking, I mean, as we go to the VA hospital once a month, you see the tragic cases. People have lost limbs, they have psychological problems. This is lifetime care, all right? That you're obviously experiencing it now. And we need the American public to be aware. Look at the people who fought in Vietnam, the people who fought in the Mideast wars, a lot of them are covering baggage, and I don't think we're helping them. No blame to any department, but as Americans, we have to help fellow Americans who happen to be in need because of what happened in combat or in the military.
But most Americans don't understand it.
No.
They don't understand what goes on in our minds and some people in our bodies, because a lot of people can't handle it and they commit suicide over this thing.
17?
I almost did that.
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, at one point I almost committed suicide.
Oh, 17 veterans, and we've talked about this off air, commit suicide every day. 17 times 365. That's a tragedy. I mean, one's a tragedy, but anyway, I think, Robert, maybe our role is going to be as we get older is to educate the public. Look at, we have veterans, the majority of whom have been lucky. They've come home, they've had jobs, they've had families, but many veterans, it could be as high as 20, 25%, have got problems to this day, decades after being in combat.
I think it's more than 25%.
Okay. Yes.
25% acknowledge it.
Yes.
And the rest of them are ashamed to acknowledge it. Like I was ashamed to go to the VA when I first came back.
Yes.
I said, I don't need help. I was rejecting the help. But then I was running a business, and one day I'm sitting in my office, and my secretary is out in another room, and I jump underneath my desk and I start screaming, take cover, take cover, take cover. Mr. Sims, what's wrong with you? Right away, she called my wife. My wife said, you got to go get some help.
This guy needs some help.
Yeah.
And as a country, if we ask young men and women to this day to go overseas and engage in activities against unfortunately, there's still bad guys doing bad things to good people, and we have to stand up to them, but not to help them when they come back with their education, the trades, or psychological, I just still can't believe it.
I've got a son who's in the military right now. He's stationed in Okinawa. He's in the Marines. He's an E7. and he loves the Corps, but he's concerned about what's going to happen to him when he gets
When
out.
he gets out, yes.
And he's got 6 more years to serve. What's going to happen to all those guys? What's going to happen to the guys that have missing limbs? The guys that are missing their faculties up here? What's going to happen to those guys?
And the war's, tragically, the war doesn't end when we leave Afghanistan or any country we're in. There are hospitals, as you know, all over this country, and there are people who need counseling help.
We bring the war home with us.
Yes, we do. And our families suffer, our spouses suffer, and it's something we have to be aware of and do something.
Right. It's not being dealt with, though.
No, it's not. And thanks to guys like you continuing to wave the flag and say, look, we've got to help these guys and gals, right?
Yes.
Done this. Which strategy? Well, Robert, look, our time's just about up, all right? It's not the quickest 30 minutes of your life.
Yeah, it went really fast.
Okay.
I could
First of all,
talk about this subject all day.
I know you would. Thank you. Now, if anybody's interested, if you are concerned about PTSD, either you have it or you know somebody has it, there are all types of 800 numbers you can call. But every Monday at 11 o'clock at the American Legion, there's a group of veterans that
In Centerville.
you could just identify yourself. Look at, I'd like to speak to somebody who might be willing to direct me to where to get some help, because we want to help.
Yes.
I mean, we're proud of the fact it's veterans helping veterans, and we
Right.
have to do it.
Every Monday, 11 o'clock.
And we want you there, right?
Yes.
Which is good. Robert, again, thank you very much. Okay?
My pleasure. My
and
pleasure.
guess what? You get the rest of the day off.
I think I'll go home and take a nap.
I like it. My name's Fred McNeil. Thank you for watching QAC TV 7. My time's up. Thank you for your time. We're going to see you the next time.